All right, so I got these little plastic wedges that I got from Harbor Freight for like $6. I don't know. It's something stupid cheap. The difficult part is not marring up the plastic, because this really does want to. The plastic's very bendable, so we just pop one side. Now let's go to the other side. But you pretty much just get it in there. There. Pop it up like that. There's little hooks at the back here that they slide into position right there. And same on the other side, might be a little easier to see. So, now we got these. You're gonna need a long-handled T25. So, I'm gonna get these out, and then I'll show you how to get the rest of it out. So there's one here, and one right there. Bit of an odd angle, but this is the bolt that's at the bottom of the steering wheel. So, to give you a reference, it is right there. Just another T25. Same screwdriver. And this will allow your bottom cover to come off. There you go, bolt. Now for this, you're gonna have to take the key out. If you can't get the key out, different process. You probably have to take off the steering wheel. You will pop off the airbags through these holes and then unbolt the airbag wheel or airbag bolt and pull the whole thing off. But since we can get the key out, we don't have to do that. And it just simply, you can unlock the steering wheel lock, and then you'll slide this down. And there you go. This can go with this. And honestly, that was the hardest part in the starting of this procedure. Ew, this is gross. I just noticed this after getting this out. This is horrifying, honestly. This is just scary. I don't like any of this. Oh well, that's not what I'm here to fix. So, only plugs we have to unplug are this one. I pull just to get it out of my way, because it's a little easier to do it when this isn't there, just to give me some more space. This one is usually attached to this point right there, but it's not, and sometimes when you have to get this one out, it can be a big pain in the butt. So if you are unlucky and you don't have one that's this terrible, I got to get this thing unplugged. I'm probably gonna have to use two hands. All right, so I got this connector undone by pushing this little tab in. You can use a pick tool, you can use a screwdriver or whatever, you can use a fingernail, it doesn't matter, you just get this unplugged. So we got that unplugged. I think I'm gonna pull this one just because I don't wanna break this wire. This is an airbag connector, so be careful, preferably unplug your battery. That would be the ideal situation. I do this so often, I really don't care. It's not gonna blow up the airbag on me. Unless something in here is a mess and shorts and explodes, then we could have a problem. So now, honestly, it's the main course. And what I'm talking about by that is these two. One here, one here. You can't see it because of the shadow of the camera. One there. These are tamper-proof bolts. They're 13, or they're 8M bolts, I think, off the top of my head, I can't remember. I get these off with a punch. They're really not hard to get out. I will demonstrate that now. All right, hopefully nothing falls when I'm filming this. I'm trying my best. I get a nice sharp punch, just not a chisel, but a punch. And so I will take it and try and find a spot that's easily accessible, that's right next to the edge of the top of the nut. And I will tap it a little bit to tap down to get a little spot to grab it, to bite. And then I give it harder punches trying to go around. And you can make new holes too. Like if you decide that that's not a good spot, then you can move it, it's fine. Not gonna hurt anything. You're gonna replace that bolt anyway. This is the only pain in the butt part, is this stupid cover. As you can see, I'm already turning it. It's just how tight is it. Oh, there we go, we got it. Then you can just use that hole that you used to punch into and just use it to unscrew it. This is the most difficult part, I would say, of this whole job, is trying to get these things out of there. I used to drill them out and it was a big mess and caused all sorts of shavings everywhere. And so one day I said, screw it, I'm just gonna hit it with a punch. And yeah, it works great. This one's a little easier because you got all the free room over here. And also I'm right-handed-ish. But previously, that was the biggest hang-up when I came to doing this job, was getting these two bolts out. Now it's not a big deal. This is the easiest part for me. Then you get a magnet and pull them out. So I usually go back with 13s, regular bolts, because they're a standard type bolt. Because I figure if somebody is smart enough to come in here and take all this apart and do this to steal your car, these bolts are going to stop them by about 30 seconds, if that. You saw how long it took me to get those two out. They're supposed to be tamper-proof, so it anti-thefting isn't anti-thefting very well. So let me get on to the next part. All right, here was the next most requested problem that I didn't explain well enough. Is how do you get it to drop out? I don't know what you can see. You should be able to see that. There's a tab right there. I'm trying to hold all these things at once. This is a tab. You push this tab in. You push that tab in and the lock will slide past it. Whoa, like that. And then it will come out. So it's, for the love of Pete, it's got two of those tabs, one on each side. And yeah, I guess that wire will hold it, so don't yell at me, I didn't mean to drop it. So there you go, now you got it out. Let's take it over to the bench after we unplug that connector. So now I'm basically gonna show you how I get these keys to turn. It's still not turning. And now that I have it out, we're replacing this whole assembly. So what we can do is we can unplug all this. Unplug that, undo that. Just remember where these things go. This is a little tab right here. You pull, mostly you gotta pull this thing out first. Pull this out, it just, this little tab, pull straight out. And then this will pull out sideways, like that. So we'll get all the wiring out of the way so we don't damage it in case we need it. And then, lots of work in it, holding it in different positions, trying to get the junk that's broken inside to come loose. Oh my goodness, after much fussing and beating, I drilled out that. Now I got the key to turn. So now, what you gotta do, which I accidentally picked the wrong side, but that's okay. Oh, this is gonna be even more difficult because this key doesn't bend. There is a tiny little notch next to the key. I don't know if you can even see it, but it's mostly a circle inside of this ring, but there's one little cutout. That's what this goes into. We're gonna take this, bend it slightly. And we're gonna shove that down there. And then we're gonna hope it dislodges it. Got it. So to show you how this mechanism works, this depresses this little lever when you push this pin in. It's just a matter of getting it in there. It's really, it can be very frustrating, but it needs to be something about the size of this needle. And this is some length. Alright, I got the ignition housing part. You got to make sure the key is still, when you take this out, make sure you keep everything very straight. Remember where you left that, all that stuff, so that way you can make sure it turns back and forth. If you turn this without the ignition lock in there, this might become permanently disabled. So now we got the key working. I didn't know the button worked. Oh, look at me. So now we have a working key, and we just reinstall it back the other way. Remember to get those two little tabs there to hook it up. Then you can just put some bolts in. You can just take this, if you want to find replacement bolts, just take this to Home Depot or wherever you can get bolts and just find some that fit. They don't need to be about this long. So you can just see how well they fit in there. They don't necessarily have to have the taper at the end, because there is no like taper at the end. It can be flat. It's not that critical. Just as long as this thread pitch, as long as it screws in nice and easy. Like that. Heck, you can even reuse these if you have to. Just beat them back the way you got them out. And that's it as far as I'm aware. If you have any questions or any further problems, again, leave me comments in there, and if I get another one of these, I try to answer all those as much as I can. So this one came without this harness and stuff, so we do have to put this ignition switch back in. So let's go over that real fast. Yeah, I took it out when it wasn't latched. It was kind of latched. Might have had it slightly turned. There we go. This should pop in pretty easy. And then of course make sure it still works. And then this piece, let's see, reference, this is how it's sitting. This piece fits into this slot, which then houses this piece with this little tab. So you just gotta get these two things lined up and into the hole, into that hole, and also into the plug, and then clip it in. And that's there. Then this part wraps under the bottom and just kind of, this is a little bit tricky because you got this little thing here and this little thing here. You try and get this notched in there, and then like that. And we plug this into the ignition switch, and now we're rebuilt. And we can just go pop it up in there, plug everything back in, and off we go. Put the bolts in. So, ta-da! Like I said, any questions, comments, if I can't answer them via text, if I get another one, I will try to answer them in another video. Thanks for watching.